Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another View Q, where I answer all the best viewer questions from this channel. And once again, I am thrilled with the questions that you guys asked because I know a lot of you are going to want to know the answers. Hey everybody, this is Robin with Creativity RV, and welcome to the View Q from, I think it's April 6th. And so I have my list of questions right here, and I am going to go through them one by one. And let me start with Utah Road Base and PB1 asked a similar question. So I'm going to read both the questions. It's a good one, and I'm going to give you the best answer I can. Question: is it possible to pay for health insurance on the road if you're a man of 50 with a pre-existing condition, heart attack in the early 40s, or will the cost just be ridiculous on a low income? Also, for the exchanges, do they look at only your income, or do they consider your assets, savings, 401k, etc.? Then the second one was, hi Robin, my question is about medical care and how you see doctors, specialists while on the road. Do you go for regular checkups, have medical insurance, etc.? I'm from Canada and we have free universal health care, lucky. And when we travel to the States, we always get travel insurance just in case. If you have prescriptions, how do you get them refilled when you are traveling across the country? Okay, so I know that this is a super important one, you guys. When I was planning to hit the road, this was, a big stressor for me because without a regular job and an ability to get health insurance, it was stressful. So I was really happy when the Affordable Care Act exchanges came out. And so I do personally purchase my health care off of the exchange. But I want to tell you some stuff that's really important to know about that for nomads. And let me tell you that I have a big chapter on this in my book. The link is below. I actually, in my book, give you 7 ways, I think it's 7, to get health insurance if you don't get it through a regular employer. One of those ways is the exchanges, and since Utah Road Base asked about that, I'm going to answer that. When you're thinking about your health insurance, you have to take into consideration a few factors when you're a nomad. The first thing is resident state, which I also cover in the book. This is important because the health insurance rules and regulations change by state. Now, if your state that you choose to be a resident in participates in the Affordable Care Act, which most of them do, they're required to do some things in certain ways. Like, for example, if they look at your assets. The states can run their own health insurance program. And if you can't get it through your state, there is also a national exchange that you can get it through. So you have a couple of options, but I think it's better to choose a state that has the exchange as your resident state if you want to be in the exchange, obviously. And if they're in the exchange, they do follow certain rules. The first one being they cannot deny you or charge you extra for a pre-existing condition. Now, again, it's April 6, 2019, and this is a moving target, which is why a lot of you have asked if the book comes in a physical written form. I'm going to do something like that later on this year, I think, because so many people have asked. But for now, I'm keeping it digital because the information is changing so rapidly, and I've got so many links in that book. So as these things change, if you have the book, update it, because then you'll have the latest information in there. But right now, again, you're okay if you have a pre-existing condition, and actually you're going to be okay if you have a low income. So basically, here's the deal. If you want to get insurance through the exchange, if you make roughly an income less than about $16,000 a year, and you guys, I'm not licensed in insurance anymore, so you're going to want to look this up for your state. It's easy. All the links are in the book, or you can just go to your local state exchange or the state that you're looking at. So you want to make sure that this information applies to you. But in general, if you're making an income less than about $16,000 a year, you actually qualify for the Medicaid expansion. So with the Medicaid expansion, you still go and see regular doctors and you get regular health care just like everybody else, but you don't pay a premium. It's actually free if you're making under $16,000 a year. Now that would be nice, but a lot of us don't make under $16,000 if we're still working. But it is great for those of us that do make a low income. The exchange is still available for a lot of people. If you make between about 16,000 and like 34, 35, 36, the number somewhere in there, you can purchase your personal health insurance with lots of different carriers like Blue Cross, Anthem, those kind of companies, real health insurance companies. You purchase it through the exchange, and if you make between 16 and around 35, something like that, you get a subsidy based on your income. So Utah road base, let's say you're making 25,000, for example. Yes, you're not going to get it for free like you would if you make under 16. You pay for it, but then you get a subsidy back. And most people that I have talked to that do it this way pay a couple $100, even in their 50s, if they have a lower income. The tricky part comes in if you make over 36,000. Now, Utah road base mentioned they have a low income, so maybe this doesn't apply to them. But let's say you make 50 and you're working and you want to be a nomad. You don't qualify for a subsidy, and as you get older, the rates do go up and the deductibles go up. But what I want you guys to know is that every single person in the United States that's a citizen can get health insurance now on the exchange or through their employer. If you don't get it through your employer, you absolutely can get it on the exchange, either the national exchange if your state doesn't do it, or through the Affordable Care Act exchange in your resident state, and then your cost will depend on your income. Look, you guys, I'm not trying to get you guys to buy the book, and if you do, that's great. I appreciate it, of course. But I am directing you to those links because the information in there is really juicy. And I have links for calculators and how to find the exchange in your state. So if you're looking at being a nomad and you've got like 3 different states you're looking at, I have a link that takes you to the different states and then the rules in that state and the calculators in that state. And that's why I'm not going to put them all below down here. But Utah road base, I know it's scary right now. It's kind of scary for a lot of people because we don't know what's going to happen with health insurance. But right now, your pre-existing condition is not going to be an issue, and you're going to be able to get health insurance. And if you have a low income, it's probably still going to be affordable. It's for people that get older and they make over 35K that right now it's a little dicey with the premiums. Now, let me get to the other question, which was about care and prescription drugs, which is also super important. So again, PB1 asked, do you see doctors regularly? And if you have prescriptions, how do you get them filled while you're traveling? So this is why your resident state is super important. And this is what I want you guys to know. A lot of nomads choose states that are nomad friendly for like license plates or taxes, which is absolutely a consideration. Think like South Dakota. You see a lot of RVs with South Dakota plates. My suggestion is that if you're a nomad, another major consideration you need to have is if you get sick and you need continuing care, where do you want to be to get that care? Because if you're traveling and you have health insurance, generally your health insurance, and again, read your own guidelines, this is not a guarantee, I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but generally your health insurance will pay for emergency care. So if I'm traveling through another state where I don't have my health insurance and I hurt myself, I can go to urgent care or the emergency room and get coverage. But if I get, let's say, cancer, and I need to have a year of chemotherapy, I cannot do that on the road. I'm going to have to go back to my resident state. Now, I can still be a nomad in that resident state and live in my RV and get that care, but it's only going to be paid for in the state where you have your insurance, which has to be your resident state. So think about that. If you've got family in a certain state that you want to take care of you, or you just like the climate or the people in a certain state, think about that state as your resident state. Oh, and hey, you guys, pretty soon I'm going to do a video on Real ID. Now, this is not on a lot of people's radar yet. Real ID is happening in October. I'm going to do a video on it soon because sometimes you have to jump through some hoops to get the ID. Now, this is tied to 9/11 and they changed the rules for what you have to show for documentation when you get your driver's license. And for us, that can be a little bit tricky. So I go through this in the book also, but I just want to put that on your radar because if you have had a name change or an address change or anything where you need to get documentation, you need to do it now because you only have 6 months to get it done and then it can get a little dicey. So look out for an upcoming video on that. Anyway, for prescriptions, this is what I do. I have my prescriptions filled at a regular pharmacy in the state where I'm a resident and I have my health insurance. And I got the pharmacy to call my insurance company and tell them that I traveled for a living, and they fill my prescriptions 3 months at a time. So I get 3 months at a time because I've never actually gotten them filled in another state. I think I could go to that same grocery store or have my doctor call it in, but I don't think it would be covered because I'm not in the right state. So personally, I've never done it. If anyone has, please do say it in the comments below. But, you know, I have family in my resident state, and so there have been a couple of times where I had the 3-month prescriptions filled, and then they mailed it to me. And if you guys saw the video that I did last on how to get mail on the road, that's how I did it. So I hope you guys find this helpful. You don't have to be tied to a regular sticks and bricks job anymore. You know, there are stats that say in the next 10 years, 60% of workers are going to be remote workers. And, you know, independent contract workers. So I'm hoping that there are more groups out there and options for people like us. But thanks to the Affordable Care Act, you can absolutely get insurance. You just have to be careful what state you're in. Also, I don't want to neglect to mention this. It changes by state, but on the Affordable Care Act in general, they do not look at your assets, they look at your income. I think for some other programs they do look at your assets, but my understanding is that on the Affordable Care Act they don't. So I hope that helps. Okay, people, moving on to some more fun stuff than health insurance. Let's see, what's fun? What's fun? Ooh, here's a good one. You guys, I get this question all the time. This is RT Jeff 831 said, okay, one question. Where's the litter box? It seems there isn't a convenient spot for the litter box in small spaces. By the way, your kitty is beautiful. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to do a video on my cat and how he acclimated to the road. I have another question on that coming up. Somebody asked me. But I also had a hard time finding a space for the litter box until I found a top entry litter box that fits in the passenger floor area. Literally, I don't have a passenger with me most of the time. If Doug's with me, we pick it up and we put it back in a hallway while we're driving. But my cat is 12, and he's always used the regular entry litter box. He acclimated to the top entry litter box great. Not only is it great because, you know, I'll put a link for it below, but, you know, it's tall, and then they crawl on the top to get in and out. My cat had no problem, but it also traps the litter as he's walking out of it, so it doesn't track across your RV. And that was the smallest footprint litter box that I could find that was also comfortable for the cat. So I know some other people take out like under bed drawers and put it under there. I have seen some people drill a hole if they have an outdoor storage bin where their cat can basically go through the hole, and then the litter box is in an outside storage bin, which would be great because you can empty it outside the bin. My RV didn't work for that, but with this litter box it was actually great. I get that question all the time, so I'll put the link for that specific product below because I know you guys are going to want to see that. Oh God, DZY Miss Lizzie ones. And I'm sorry, more question about the cat, but I got this one so much. You always refer to your cat as the boy. What's his name? Or is boy his name? And then Randy's Adventure said, did I miss it? How did you come up with the boy for the name of your cat? Okay, well, he's sleeping back here today, so he's not going to be on camera this time. But I wasn't even looking for a cat when I found the boy. I had 2 other pets at that time, and they've both passed away. But, you know, he was just such a little gray fur ball, and he crawled up and, like, laid in my lap, and I just fell in love with him. And, you know, he's my buddy. He is my best friend on the road, and his name was not the big boy when I first got him. And honestly, it was 12 years ago, and I barely even remember what his name was for, like, 2 weeks or something. But my other 2 pets were girls, and I kept calling the boy a her or a she. Well, I was dating a guy at the time who started going, who's your big boy? You're such a good boy, big boy. And he started answering to it. The cat just answered to it. He wasn't answering to the name I gave him. It's not a name I would have chosen, but he chose it for himself. So his name is Big Boy. And so I call him the Big Boy. And over the years, you know, I just started calling him the boy. And everybody in my family, my friends, and now you guys know he's just the boy. Okay, Suji1. You are the best YouTuber RV channel, hands down. Thank you. I totally enjoyed watching Big Boy with you. My question, is your new rig gas or diesel, and what is the miles per gallon? So, my last rig had a Mercedes diesel Sprinter, and I had such great luck with it that I actually chose that again for my new rig. So I have a Mercedes diesel Sprinter again. Now, I know a lot of people have problems with their Mercedes Sprinters, and I've had people say, don't do it, you're going to have problems. My check engine light is on right now, and I've only had this for 2 months, but they think it's because the high winds that I was in popped a sensor. So I'm going to the dealership this week. I have loved my Mercedes Sprinters, both of them, and they have both gotten, on average, with diesel, 15.6 miles a gallon. If there's high winds or I'm going up hills, or I'm going down a lot of dirt roads, it's like 12. But, you know, if I'm coasting and it's a nice day, I can get up to 20, 22. So it's been really great for me. Okay, Thrifty Gamma says, love your videos, but right now I'm loving your green glasses more. Please tell me they're reading glasses and where you got them. Okay, like people, I'm blind. And these are reading glasses because I just have not broken down to get real glasses. These are a 2. And actually I saw this coming, so today I was feeling a little bit subdued, so I do have the green ones, but I go through these because I sit on them and I break them, and so I get these off of Amazon, and I'm also obsessed with them. Like, you know, I'm feeling a little bit funkier, I have the pink ones, right? Or I have, you know, white ones if I want to go a little retro, or I have, you know, blue ones. I had some orange ones, but I think Doug stole them. He needs readers, but he keeps denying that he does. But he does. And yeah, so I use these for everything. And I'm pretty good about organizing in here, but I can never seem to find my glasses. So I get them in packs of like 5. You guys know that I talk about products, and I am an Amazon associate. So if you guys do purchase something from one of my links, it does give me a few cents on your purchase, and it doesn't cost you anything else. And so I appreciate it. But really, I just like to share my stuff. And I want to tell you guys, I did not get anything that I've told you about for free. I've bought every single thing, and duds do not make it. I do not talk about them. These are all things that are tried and true for me. Recently, I have become an Amazon influencer, which just means that all my products can show up on one page. So below, and in my videos now, you're going to see one link for anything that I've talked about or you guys ask about, because that way you don't have to go back and search for the links, or if the links are old, they won't work anymore. So go to that link, and then the very top category is as seen on YouTube, and I'll put these right there so you can see them. And then the pillow from last week is there, and the Instant Pot and the fairy lights and all that stuff. But yeah, aren't these great? I think they're, honestly, I think they were $13 for 5 of these. I mean, they're cheapies, but they're cute, right? Okay. Moving back to the green for the next question. I love doing this with you guys. Actually, I feel like we're all just chatting by the fire. Okay, this is an audience participation one. I'm really hoping we get some feedback on. Living the RV Loca Life 1, love your name, said, love your videos. I have a question about going to Alaska. How would you start to plan? We're starting to plan for 2020 and need advice. Well, living the RV Loca life, me too. I want to go to Alaska. I was thinking about going at the end of this summer, but I don't want to drive through Canada and then go to Alaska and drive back through Canada, because I feel like that's a 5-year journey. There's just so much to see. So what I was hoping to do personally is to take a ferry from Seattle to Alaska, see Alaska, and drive back through Canada. I had a coworker a long time ago that actually took his moving truck when he moved from Seattle to Alaska on one of these ferries that just carry goods. They're not cruise ships, and they're not necessarily passenger ferries, but he said people were there like in pickup trucks and, you know, sleeping in sleeping bags, and people would just pull out their lawn chairs, and the ferry went through the same inside passage that the cruise ships do, which is gorgeous. And my recollection is he said it was like $1,000, $800, something like that. I cannot find that now. I've done a bunch of research. In the research I've done, I actually found that there are some RV transport ferries, but you can't sleep in your RV. You actually have to purchase a room, and then it's like a cruise. It's like $4,000. And if any of you have found a way to do a ferry from Seattle in your RV to Alaska that's not too cost prohibitive, please do put it in the comments below, because I have not been able to find that. My friend Badge, Everybody Needs One, commented to me once that there was a ferry, but I Googled it and I couldn't find a Badge, so put a link below. And anyone else that has any suggestions on doing Alaska, I haven't done it yet, and so let's make it a group participation thing. If you've gone, or if you've done some planning, or you know a good way to get there, please do share it with the group below, and if we get enough good advice, I'll put it all together in one video, if that sounds okay. Okay, finally, Samantha Fisher sent me several questions. How old is your cat? 12. I'm going to do a whole cat video, so I'll answer that then. How often do you meet up with friends on the road? Do you plan to travel the rest of the U.S. soon, or are you content in one place? How did you explain to your friends and family what you plan to do and why? And what camera equipment do you use? Okay, well, I meet up with friends on the road. I mean, last year I think it was probably every month I'd camp with somebody for 3 or 4 days. I like to be by myself sometimes. But recently, you know, I camped with my friends Carol and Donna. Hey girls! I had to leave them when my mom got sick, and I was going to go up the Pacific Northwest with them, but I'm not able to now. But we camped together for weeks, and it was great. And I'll tell you what made the difference. We would meet in the morning for our morning fire, and then we all did our own thing all day, and sometimes we meet up in the evening. So it wasn't like we were all up in each other's space. We could get our own stuff done, but we were still social, and you know, we still had each other's backs, which is good. So that style of friend camping I really enjoyed. But otherwise, I'd say every month I meet up with people, but everybody's different. You know, I did a video called Do I Need a Tribe? I've got some stuff on that in the book. Everybody's camping style is going to be different. So it's going to be different for you than it is for me, I think. Do I plan to travel the rest of the U.S.? Well, yeah. I mean, there's so much to see. And I've got friends all over the country I'd love to go see. But it's just a matter of family and commitments and now distance. I am not wanting to go too far away right now from my family. So it's not like I'm going to be going to Maine right now, but someday I definitely will. And you know, when I explained to them that I wanted to do this, everyone thought I was nuts. I really had to bring them along, and actually showing them YouTube videos was really helpful. When I showed them that there were other solo women in my age group that were on the road and they could make a living and they were safe, then they got on board. And I have to tell you, now everyone is super, super supportive. And even the people that thought I was crazy now are like, maybe I want to do that. So for me personally, I did research and I came into that conversation fully loaded. So I knew what questions they were going to have, and I tried to answer them. And then, you know, I just showed them by example, and that's all that I could do. If anyone else has any advice on that, please do put it in the comments below. And finally, which camera mic equipment do you use to record your videos? I'm going to put that equipment before this video comes out on my Amazon influencer page, so it's all in one section, because on that page I can say camera equipment and then everything I use can be there. I also mentioned my camera in my 12 Days of Christmas video, and I mentioned that I spent a lot of money on my first camera that actually Bob Wells recommended I get. I think it was over $1,000, and it was just too chunky and big for me. It wasn't portable enough, and I ended up going to a camcorder that was $200, and I freaking love it. I got the wide angle lens for it, which I'll also put on there. For me, what I needed was something that kept a charge and was portable and could also go on a tripod. And so the camcorder that I use, which I think is a Panasonic, but I can't see it right now because I'm actually looking into it, has worked great, and I'm going to put that in the link below. You guys, I am really enjoying this view queue, and I hope you are too. I love the questions. I love the community. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer 2 weeks from today, please do put them down in the comments below. If you have any comments on any of the stuff that we've gone through in this video, let's be a community for each other and help each other get the info we need. Please do put it down below. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. If you like this video or your friends can use it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I wish you all happy travels out there and be free.